Joined by my guys, Desmond Howard, David Pollack, Kirk Herbstreit, and the great Lee Corso. I am merely Reese Davis. The improvements and the growth that we've seen from Trevor Lawrence on and off the field will be addressed. Much more of that conversation. Had a lot of experience, as Kirk alluded to. Rattler got to play a little bit last year with the new redshirt rules and did throw a touchdown pass. And perhaps, they won't have to look for season preview. It is brought to you by Geico. And boy, it's hard to do much better than Dabo and Clemson have done. Talking to Dabo and to Trevor earlier this week, both are hungry to bounce back from that loss to LSU, but it just shows you over the last 5 years they've lost 5 games, got a couple of national championships, and they've won as many games in the ACC, David, by 50 as they've had in single digits. So is there a legitimate threat to Clemson in the ACC?
Sir, listen, they got Trevor Lawrence, they got Travis Etienne. That's the greatest start you can probably have. Best running back, best quarterback. Left for the NFL. Ross out for the season. Ladson, nada. Who steps up out wide? So I do think Clemson rebuilding the secondary. I think there'll be some challenges this season. I don't think it will be as dominant as we've seen in the past, Des.
I agree with you, David. I think the ACC has gotten a little stronger, but I still think that Clemson is the cream of the crop.
Man, I can just feel Dabo Swinney and Brent Venables sitting down there in Death Valley listening to you guys saying, man, Clemson this and Clemson that. They got questions here. They got questions there. Yeah. They're going to play this back to make sure their team's motivated. If there's one team, I think it's North Carolina. Anytime you have a quarterback like Sam Howell that can throw it around and make plays, and he's got athletes that can make plays at receiver and running back. I think old North Carolina, Mac Brown, he's got those guys believing. So that would be the one team I think can athletically match up with
I thought you were going to go back to the Miami well again, Kirk. I thought we were going to hear Miami Hurricanes again.
It's a preseason
No, that was
show.
off the radar. You guys went Florida LSU. They told me off the radar. So that's why I went Miami there.
He got a little latitude there. A little latitude. All right, coming up next. Desmond, who's the favorite in the SEC West? So much change at LSU. You got to change the quarterback at Alabama. Who's the favorite in the SEC West?
Yeah, despite the fact that they're changing the quarterback at Alabama, I still like the talent that's around the quarterback. And we talk about the running backs. We talk about Jalen Wild. We talk about Devontae Smith. They have enough talent on the perimeter. They have great offensive line. I still like Alabama to win the West. So I'm going with Roll Tide, Coach.
Hey, I agree with you, Desmond. I mean, listen, they got Texas A&M and Georgia both at home for the telephone fans there. And listen, one thing. They're really hungry. Alabama, Roll Tide.
Hey, Coach, I think a team that's forgotten about is the Auburn Tigers. I'm a huge fan of Bo Nix. I know people looked at his numbers last year and maybe scratched their head and they weren't as impressed with what he could do. The kid was a true freshman in the SEC. I thought he showed the intangibles that it takes to be an outstanding quarterback. He's got players around him. So I think Auburn, I know, Reese, that you love A&M, but I think Auburn's a forgotten team that could come back, but I'm with the boys here. I think Mac Jones is a much better quarterback than people realize. Bama is still the team to beat in my mind.
Issues. What about the SEC East, Kirk?
Well, I really felt Georgia all along, but I think with Newman being out, opting out, and JT Daniels stepping in, I'm going to go with Kyle Trask. And the reason I looked at Florida as a team that I maybe can't get through that schedule is because of what they picked up in the West. It's going to be a daunting task for them. But, Coach, I'm going to go with the Florida Gators over Georgia in the SEC East.
All right, I disagree. I go Georgia. They got a new quarterback, but they got 16 starters coming back. And remember, the main competition is Florida. They beat the Gators 3 straight in Jacksonville. Georgia, Bulldogs.
I don't know, Coach. I think I'm going to have to side with Kirk. I'm going with the Florida Gators, too. I like Kyle Trask stepping in at the quarterback position. I like what I saw from him a year ago. And don't forget, now they get Georgia and they get LSU. They get LSU at home. I like the Florida Gators out the East.
I think that's going to be a great battle between both of those teams. On as your Heisman winner, but Trevor Lawrence comes in again this year. He's going to be the favorite. You could almost ask Trevor or the field. Pollack, who's going to win the Heisman Trophy?
I'm going to take Trevor. That graphic doesn't bode well, Reese. And if you look back, I mean, going all the way back to Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and Murray and Baker and all those guys, it's been the underdogs. It's been the guys that have come out of nowhere. But Clemson still never had a Heisman Trophy winner. I think Clemson's going to be very much in the mix. I think Trevor, with a new supporting cast, will continue to do what he's done throughout his whole career and put up big numbers. So I think Trevor's going to, with that beautiful hair, is going to take home that beautiful trophy.
David, I think that's a good pick. It's a nice, safe pick, but it's hard, very, very hard, even during the pandemic season, to go wire to wire. So I'm going to go with Alabama's Jalen Waddle. He's a dynamic receiver. They can move him all around the field. The Auburn game, he was just Mr. Do Everything. Led the country last year in average yards per punt return at 24 yards per. So I'm going with the wide receiver / returner from Alabama, Jalen Waddle, Coach.
Lawson's a lock if he doesn't get hurt. But I'll tell you one thing, watch for the underdog. Ian Book, quarterback of Notre Dame. They're going to have a great year. Notre Dame's going to have a great year. And he plays the glamour position in America. Watch him. Keep your eyes on Ian Book.
You know, I'm with you, Coach. I think Trevor Lawrence seems to be somewhat of a lock as we sit here. But, Des, you've won one of these, and I think it says most outstanding player on the trophy, right? And so Derek Stingley at LSU, guys, when we watch him play, I know it always goes to an offensive player typically. But, man, Derek Stingley, you want to watch a guy who can play the game. I was blown away by him. And he kind of got lost a little bit with all the big names on that offense. But that guy's one of the best.
College football playoff teams, who will it be?
Alabama, Oklahoma, Clemson, and Notre Dame. Notre Dame. But, sorry.
Coach.
Yeah, you guys watch out for Notre Dame. You're right. I'm making a prediction. The Irish go to the playoffs this year. Right there.
Whoa.
Write it down.
Whoa. Calling his shot. Calling his shot. I love it.
Right there.
I am writing that one down, LC, for sure.
But, sorry, Irish. Alabama wins it. Alabama. They'll rebound from last year. They're mad, but they're hungry. They're Alabama.
I've got Clemson and Alabama, but I got Trevor Lawrence and Dabo and the boys beating Bama and winning the national title.
Who would it be that would knock them out? Who can beat Alabama and Clemson?
We've seen the last couple years. It's Georgia. Now you got Kirby Smart, who's stacked recruiting classes on top of recruiting classes. I think that their defense is going to be as good as you've seen their defense in the last couple years because they got a legitimate pass rush. And for them, I think Georgia's the next team on the cusp ready to make that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think watch out for Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher is putting together a very, very strong program down there. Kellen Mond comes back at the quarterback position. They have to travel to Texas A&M. That's going to be a very interesting game when Alabama plays Texas A&M.
To talk, I'm on the Aggie bandwagon. Enjoy your day of football. We'll see you from Wake Forest next Saturday morning at 9 a.m.